Hey there, Coach Devin here. I want to talk about something that I talk to clients about on a regular basis, but I've never talked to you guys all on YouTube about, and that is thinking about food as medication. Now, that sounds strange on the surface. A lot of people say, well, Devin, come on now, food isn't medication. It's not the same thing. It's a totally different thing. What are you talking about? I hear that a lot from people, and they say, that's insane. Why even bring that up? But hear me out, and I think you'll understand that there's something to this. So let's talk medication. You wouldn't say you have, I don't know, ADHD and you're taking Ritalin, and you wouldn't take, 15 tabs of Ritalin one day unless you want to have some issues. Or any medication you're on. If you're diabetic, you wouldn't take a ton of insulin just because you feel like it that day. And you're like, it tastes good. I'm going to have a bunch of it. I'm just going to pound back some insulin today. That'll be good for me. Or any drug out there. I mean, guys that are using erectile dysfunction drugs like Cialis or Viagra, you're not going to take 10. I mean, maybe you would take 10, but you're probably going to have some serious side effects if you're going to take 10 of them. Why will you have serious side effects? Well, because it's not meant for that. You can't just take a ton of stuff. It's the same thing as vitamins. You wouldn't take 35 vitamin C today because that's a bad idea, right? It's not a good call to have 35 vitamin C or 20 vitamin D or vitamin B or whatever. That sounds to me like a trip to the hospital for taking vitamins, which is dumb, but you know what? It happens. It does happen. But something that's interesting here is we don't view food as medication or not in the same line as medication. But what's very interesting to me, and always has been interesting to me, is the fact that food does things in your body similar to medication. So when you take a medication, you ingest it, right? You put it in your mouth and swallow it, or you put it on your tongue and it gets in your bloodstream. Either way, it's in your bloodstream now, and it does specific things inside your body. So if you're taking an erectile dysfunction drug like Cialis, it allows you to get erections now. The blood flow changes and you're able to get erections. If you're taking diabetic medication, you're taking insulin or something like that, well, that deals with the fact that, you have some diabetic problems and you handle that. It changes what's going on inside the blood, inside your body, changes the way your body is. Food does the same thing. That's the crazy part about this. Food actually does the same thing inside your body as medication and the chemical that you put in with a medication, because all medication, quite frankly, when you boil it down, is a chemical. If you eat food, you get a similar situation. You are taking something that is getting inside your body, it is changing, getting inside your blood, and then it changes what your body is doing. Just like a medication, the food will do that. So the real question comes down to, are you thinking about that when you're eating your food? Now, my daughter Kay, yesterday, she's been on a bit of a health kick. So she really wants to get more fit. Not that she's unfit in any way, shape, or form, but she wants to get more fit. She's been on a kick. On her phone, she decided she wanted to take 10,000 steps a day. And I was trying to tell her, that's a lot of steps, honey. You don't need 10,000 steps in a day necessarily. But she wanted to get to 10,000 steps, and, she wants to eat more healthy, and she's asking me a bunch of fitness-related questions, which I think is great. I mean, knowledge is power, right? What's interesting is yesterday I was explaining to her, she decided she wanted to have a snack. She had gone to the Irving and she bought like a slushie and chips. And I said, okay, well, honey, you got to understand the amount of stuff you're putting into your body right now. That does some things to your body that maybe is not so good. And I listen, I don't want to be negative with her because what I don't want to do is create a negative impression with food for her. That's not good for anybody. No one should be, at 11 years old, she's 11, counting calories. I don't think anybody should do that, but you should be aware of the amount of calories you're taking in roughly and have an idea. And I was explaining to her, hey, the amount of sugar and fats and stuff in this, that's like almost all of the food you need for the day calorie-wise. Like it was like 800 calories in one snack meal, right? That kind of stuff, though, happens with adults and with all of us all the time. When I have movie night with my kids, you know what? If you eat 2 pieces of pizza and you have some chips and some M&Ms, which is kind of our thing for movie night, that's what we do in our family. We have pizza and M&Ms and chips. That's a ton of calories. Quite easily, I could ingest 1,000, 1,500 calories if I'm not careful with my food. And what is that going to do to me? Well, my blood sugar is going to be all out of whack. My salt level is going to be all out of whack from the pizza and then the chips. I'm going to feel pretty crappy. The next day I get up and I can't get my X-ring on. Why can't I get my X-ray on the next day? Well, the sheer amount of salt that has been ingested, my body's swelling right up. So really, when you think about it, food and medication, they're like the same thing. You're putting it inside your body, and something happens inside your body when that happens, and then guess what? You have a chemical change in there. So it is important to think what you're putting in your mouth, that's a big deal. It's not just about being lean. It's not just about saying, what tastes good. It is, you can taste, it taste is important. I get that. And I've never said that you shouldn't eat junk food. You just eat it in moderation. My concern becomes what happens when you get into that that thing where you're rolling and you're eating junk food more often, or you're eating too much of it. What is it doing chemically in your body? Because it comes down to garbage in, garbage out. If you have too much medication in your body, you have serious health problems. That's a fact. Everybody knows it. It's just a fact. Now, if you have too much fats, carbs, protein, salt, sugar in your system, what happens? Well, there's serious health problems with that. It's not just about how you look on the outside. If you are gaining weight, well, that's bad, and nobody likes to gain weight, and people see it. But inside you is what's going on. Some people can eat a lot of junk and not gain a lot of weight. They can get away with it, right? Because the metabolism. Does that mean that inside their body that everything is going well? No, it doesn't. In fact, all the same things that happen in my body, because when I eat junk, I gain fat. That's just the way it is. All the same things that happen in my body happen in somebody who's skinny's body too. So really, when you boil it down, food is just like medication, and we should think of it a little bit like medication. Garbage in, garbage out. That's how it works. Garbage in, garbage out. If you eat garbage, you will feel terrible. One of the things I tell clients quite often is once you get used to eating healthy, you will be amazed how much better you're going to feel. Because you think right now, how you feel is just how you feel. You get up, you do your day, whatever. It's like smoking. Somebody who smokes every day thinks that they're having a bit of a cough and, your lungs are a little bit wheezy and going upstairs sucks and stuff like that. They think that's normal. If they quit smoking, they're like, whoa, wait a second. This is pretty good. I feel a lot better now. You don't realize how good you can feel because you're used to how you feel. Same thing as being on a drug. If you're addicted to a painkiller, an opiate, whatever, and you're addicted to that and, off you go with that, okay, fine. But when you get off it, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to think a lot better, more clearly. You're going to feel a lot better because you're not taking something that's bad for you. It comes down, again, like I said, to garbage in, garbage out, or good in and good out. Do you want to feel good? Do you want to be healthy? Well, you have to eat things and put things inside your body that are good for you. You can't drink coffee and pop all day and assume you're going to get a good result fitness-wise and physically, and how you feel emotionally and mentally. Everything's tied together. Your body is like one big working machine, and every piece of it is tied to the other. So when you put something in your mouth, that's what runs the machine. So if you put diesel fuel in a Ferrari, you get a bad result. A Ferrari doesn't run very well, or it doesn't run at all. Same thing applies to food. So food really, let's boil it down, is like medication. It's fuel, it's like medication for your body. That's what it is. It's medication, and it allows you to function. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be? How do you want to walk around every day? That's really the question at hand. And that comes down to what you put in your mouth and how you exercise. Those things are completely controllable by you. You can control all that stuff. And you don't have to be perfect every day. I've said this many times. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be better than you were the day before. Because if you feel good, you tend to do better things, right? And if you feel bad, then you're going to do those bad things too. That's just the way life is. If you have questions, comments, things for me to talk about, write them up down below. I'd love to hear from you. A lot of these things these ideas that I have for YouTube videos come from this, because people ask me questions and I say, oh, yeah, I think I should talk about that. And this is one of those situations. A client asked about food and a medication. We started talking, and next thing you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I should do a video on food is like medication. They're similar things. They're very, very similar. So if you have comments, questions, things you want me to talk about, write them up down below. I would love to hear from you. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Don't fight the awesome.